Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of board meeting minutes for June 12th, 2020.
I'll move for the approval of board meeting minutes for June 12th, 2024.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the board meeting minutes for June 12th, 2024. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Approval of meeting agenda.
I'll move for the approval of the meeting agenda.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the meeting agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Consent agenda.
I'll move for the approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Is there any changes? Oh, yeah,
Yeah, do that.
we'll do that right after this and we'll get
Okay.
that in there. Is there any changes to the consent agenda though, other than nothing new? Then we,
Nope.
yeah, okay. No discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried.
I'd like to make a motion to approve board members Bauer and Bailey from tonight's meeting.
Excuse. You say excuse?
Yes, right?
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded to excuse board members Bauer and Bailey. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. They are excused. All right, we are down to discussion items. The COFA grant, so that's me. All right, so I don't think I can share, but if you guys can see in your board packet at all or not, I'll get it up here and kind of discuss what's happening. So Chris and I have been working on a grant. Ron brought it to us early on that there was some money to be had for youth athletic fields and that it would fit pretty nicely with the soccer community overall, just because of our demographic and the lack of a full-time area for soccer in the community. It's between the city park and down here. And it also affects the most kids at one time. I think we had ran the numbers like 396 students. There's an extensive amount of games that could be played. So the project itself that we're asking for about $1.2 million to develop the 14 acres behind the transportation facility. The transportation facility right now behind there's 14 acres of pasture land that's being hayed. Currently, the district hasn't been using it. So the idea would be to add 3 full-size soccer fields and with a total of 15 total fields. I believe there's 4 modified fields, which are like U12, and then there's like 2 that are U9, and then it goes down to U6. So it would be an all-encompassing. And the biggest staple of the entire project would be that we are asking for lights. So there would be a full set of lights for 1 field and a half. So as you can see in the drawings that you guys have in front of you, sorry for those that maybe are online, we don't have the visuals, but it would be a full-size soccer field with a full set of lights, and then the adjacent field would have lights pointing in that direction, which according to the lighting company would allow for like a training or whatever. Maybe it wouldn't allow for like a playing surface because there's a certain lumen level that you have to have to play in the WIA sports. So later on tonight, you guys are going to see let's make sure I get the wording right. A resolution for community athletic renovation. And this is basically saying that the district owns the property and that we give the right to Chris and Lisa to act in our favor to apply for the grant and to basically present our will to them. So if we are granted the award, it does tie up the property for a 20 years.
Okay.
Just because if they're gonna donate $1.2 million, they want to make sure that we're gonna use the property for an extended portion of time. So we've been working really feverishly to get this submitted, get the everything together, budget stuff, quotes, all the visuals that you're seeing there. We're able to take some aerial photographs and kind of overlay on the school district and stuff. So
That's
exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Give you a little background. Our pre-application was originally 4th out of 35. They readjusted to 6th, but that's still extremely high considering there's two times of the year that we could get money. We could either get it this next year or the following year. They take from either or. So we're sitting in a really good place.
What's our timeline for knowing something?
So our application is due tomorrow.
Okay.
And we go through preliminary until I believe August. And then the final submission is sometime in September. And I don't think we know until October.
Okay.
And then they don't release funds until 2025 is, I believe, the deadline. So exciting. It could be really exciting.
Super exciting.
So,
And if in the future we needed to build a new elementary school, that we would have all that area that's currently occupied
correct.
filled in the back.
That would be the idea, because right now, I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 fields there already. If we were to develop, we still have almost another, I believe, 5 to 7 acres of property to still construct. And I believe that was the original plan. The last time around was if we're gonna keep the 2 campuses close together, they would obviously be probably on the current fields where they're at, and that 14 acres behind the transportation building still probably wouldn't be used. So the fortunate thing that we have going for us too is that the transportation building already brought water and power to the backside of the property, not backside of the property, but the backside of the transportation building. So it's kind of helping with costs. Our access is a huge thing. The fact that it's very inclusive to, just about anybody who's playing. The other thing is too, we're championing it as a multi-athletic field, not just soccer, but the way that the grant is worded and stuff, we're really going for the group that's affected the most. And it doesn't mean that the community couldn't have a football game there or other game, or who knows, maybe we get lacrosse or rugby or something. They could use the space.
Mhm.
It's just that the grant itself is looking for a specific group, and that's what we targeted.
Is this and I apologize, I know everybody else can't see it, but is this the field that would be lit?
No, we were thinking the furthest one away.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's all really preliminary.
okay,
Our goal is, once we start, if we are awarded the grant, then we would sit down with a group, and start coming up with a finalized plan.
okay.
Some of my thought when I put it together is if we put the lights back in the back there, it just kind of utilizes the trees to block some of the light, and we're not affecting the house that's really close to the transportation building. And if we were to, for some reason, have to develop off the elementary school, putting the lights closer to that field means that we can't squeeze the fields over. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So, but again, it's open to change. My original plan too, but it got too expensive, was to expand and have 4 tennis courts and 2 outside basketball courts. So eventually, if we could somehow get some community support to put that together, there's room in this footprint to do that.
In this current footprint?
Yes,
Okay.
actually, where the fields are missing right here in the
Mhm.
middle right here
Mhm.
would be where it would go.
That's helpful.
So,
Okay.
I mean, we'll see. I
Exciting
mean,
stuff to
it's pie in the sky, but we'll
Okay.
see. So
come. That's
that's,
to dream big.
I know, right? All right, next item, board retreat.
I think the month of July is a no-go.
It sounds like for everybody, right?
Yeah, I'm out most all of July. Yeah.
And I was actually
was thinking the last week of August, based off the two schedules Jamie sent her schedule to me, and she's really available
But I think she's not available that last week of August.
she's out the 22nd and 25th, so is that,
Chris can do the 14th, but not the 13th. He was thinking that in that week.
okay,
I would imagine that the 26th to the 30th, that last week of August, it would be impossible
With
to
Summer
find any.
Institute during that.
Yeah,
time
it'd
too,
be
school
impossible to
start.
find time to do it for anybody. I would lean towards the 12th and the 16th as well.
okay.
I mean, as far as like when Chris is,
How many days are you guys how many days is it?
I think we normally just meet.
We've only done one, right?
So he couldn't do the 13th, but he can do the 14th.
I can do the 14th. I'm actually back. The only,
Yeah, and I think we usually did one day on a Wednesday, opposite of when the board meetings normally are, but.
Which that would be a board meeting night.
that's what I was looking at.
Technically, but,
Doesn't mean that we couldn't move.
yeah. I think we should shoot for the 14th and then. Cause are we thinking like a daytime thing? Or are we thinking an evening?
I'm open to either.
I
But
feel like I could do either as well.
I don't know if everybody else could do either.
Or maybe like start at like a 3 o'clock partial day sort of thing.
Let's just tentatively set it for the
14th,
fourteenth, and then
then
we
come
can
back.
decide, come back on the time for that day.
And then if we're gonna have to move the board meeting, we'd have to notify that.
Cause
As well.
then it would have to be a special board meeting and.
No, the board meeting itself wouldn't because it's already posted.
But
But
we were
the
saying,
gathering would be
if we
moved it.
had to move it, then we would need to do something, but we have plenty of time to move it.
As long as
and
we
make-
do it within 24 hours, we're good.
Okay,
What if we shot for, instead of Wednesday, what if we did it? I know that would really suck, do a school board meeting and then do a board retreat the next
On the
day, what,
15th?
Thursday night?
was
Wait.
Chris available on,
Those are the only dates he gave me.
he only said the 13th when it
He
worked.
said 13th doesn't work. He could do it the 14th. So I'm assuming maybe he's available. He's out of town on the 13th, back. Could be there for the 14th. That means he
Okay.
probably could be there for that day too.
How about if we?
Let's shoot for that
confirm up-
range.
Yeah, and
Shoot
then,
for the 14th to 15th range, because then that maybe make it a little easier, so I don't have to move that school board meeting. That's just my thought, but I'm not opposed to moving anything. So,
It's easier if we don't move the school board meeting.
I agree. So,
but if there's not a lot of things on that agenda that night, it might be worth just plowing through a full
we could start earlier
day,
too.
you know,
Yeah,
so,
okay, yeah,
okay.
all right. Mark, I think that is Summer Institute schedule.
Okay, so you'll see in the board packet, the Summer Institute schedule, 3 days, starting August 20th. The first day, there'll be 5 different choices for staff to choose from. We're focusing on instructional materials during that first day. You can see that one of the sessions is on the CKLA, that's for the 3rd through 5th, and we're gonna have the vendors come in for CKLA, for Savas, and for Perfection Learning for the secondary. So they'll receive 6-hour training by the vendors at that time. Those that are not getting that training have choices between a passion project and a badge books. So K1, 2 are probably gonna be working on the badge books, and passion projects from, say, the science folks in the science department or those departments not affected by their professional development. So there's quite a few different choices on day 1. Day 2, you see it's gonna be, Eric's gonna lead a session on artificial intelligence, and I think he's gonna have ESD come in for that. And our real goal there on that Wednesday is to take your passion project, if you create a passion project or whatever you information you gained from the instructional materials sessions, to be able to then, during that second day, use AI to develop some intervention type activities for social emotional learning, for UDL or whatever it would be. And then the last day is gonna be some instructional design. We're gonna have the gentleman from Empower, the main guy that we've been working with through Empower, come in and work with the group the majority of the group building activities and playlists. And then the badge book folks will be doing some work. So good full 3 days.
Sounds busy.
Yep. Any questions?
I like the layout of it.
I do too.
It gives the.
Yeah, it's
day-
pretty.
He has
Chris
the
did a good
dates
job
just
designing
more-
that, didn't he?
Yeah,
You can tell he's a.
I mean, I think.
He's got that.
It looks official, like I'm gonna
I
get a
know.
college
It's-
credit or
I
something.
think it makes the day professional, and I think that that is a goal area we've talked about as a board of just increasing professionalism, and I think that's a good
I
start.
think this has also already been sent out to staff, so
Okay.
they can sign them.
Awesome. Go get signed up. All right, next on the list, building audit review with Jeff.
Okay, so we had the insurance company come through initially. We had some things that were not up to par with like daisy chain cords and, you know, Christmas lighting, just different things. We really not really started to rein it in yet, so this was kind of our first go through. And then we came back and we did a re-walkthrough. Not gonna lie, we had some things that were still not up to par. But like a handful of them were like teachers about ready to retire that had like plush furniture, those are probably gone now. And then in the summertime, the rooms pretty much get tore apart because we take everything out to do the floors, so. What we really need to watch for is. As they set the rooms back up, just like noticing it, like I'll train my staff what to look for when they're cleaning. Noticing it, pointing it out to me, and then I'm gonna go to the administrator, because the administrator is the ones that deal with the staff. So that'll kind of be the plan going forward, and then. You know, as we go down the road, you know, maybe. We could start wondering, like developing policies on different things that are and aren't allowed in uses. Overall, though, the main safety concerns were handled immediately. Some of the other stuff is just training the staff and kind of using that report as a guideline. So,
Okay,
I did have one question. I noticed that it says some doors have their windows covered. While we understand that doing so during testing, it should not be a regular practice. But it seems like having a window unobstructed is worse than obstructed with the current school climate. Without saying it,
unobstructed.
so if say there was an act of anything at the school district, the windows being covered is actually a good thing, wouldn't?
Yeah, but that's only during lockdown, because
Right.
what.
And they're trained to put coverings over during a lockdown.
Okay,
The window.
so rather than, because I see the photos here, which don't actually show windows, which is kind of funny.
Well, they're doors, so
Yeah.
like, doors to hallways, so.
It's like the door that you have right there with the
Yeah.
glass.
Yeah,
So and it's clear risk deals with a lot more than they deal with.
Yeah.
Sensitive stuff,
yeah,
and so it's kind of a. You know, having an open window is kind of like. You just not doing things behind closed doors, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, it's just a transparency thing where the building administrator can walk around, look and see what's going on without having to interrupt the class.
That makes
stuff like
sense.
that. So, they deal with a lot of stuff like that, so that's kind of jumps out to them. Having the window covers there for the lockdown, sure, then you can cover it
Yeah.
at that point. But yeah. For a majority of the stuff, and I noticed that a lot of teachers that had, say, posters hanging too high. When school got out, they took them down, so it was kind of like, they knew it.
yeah,
But during the school year, to make those kind of changes was kind of drastic, so I think next year we're gonna start out better, and then early on, we're just kind of going in to give guidance. And then-
there was a few things on here that were pretty funny, like there's stuff on the table and there's like 2 items on the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cluttered, okay,
Yeah, so but. You know, it's kind of one of those things where the teacher in the room having to do things,
mhm,
they will run new extension boards if we take their
Yeah.
boards away, just, you know, that's what they're doing, so. I think it's kind of just having the administrators really work with the teachers on why and stuff like that. And I think maybe even sharing the reports with them is not a
Yeah.
bad idea, so.
Well, and helping them find a
Solution.
good workaround.
Yeah. Because I'm assuming we don't have the adequate amount of outlets is the reason why we're using extension cord.
Yeah, or they're not in convenient locations,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, the same thing's true in our office building. They come through twice a year and check and people go and then they come, yeah, so I get,
Clearly with change in technology, that means more and more electronics that need to be put in.
Yeah.
So when the buildings were constructed, it wasn't
Do
necessarily
they
to
need
count.
do they need an instant hot water heater, a toaster, a microwave and all? Probably not. You know what I mean? So there's some that's like. Yeah, they have to do it for this, some that they just are, because it's convenient for them, so it's just a retraining deal. Getting the guidance initially is good, and we'll have them check back on it probably next year too.
Jeff, the things that were marked red, I'm just asking more from like a liability. Are they the things though that we almost did do an immediate corrective action with?
Are you looking at the initial report or the follow-up? I think it's the initial, most of that stuff was handled by.
Had already been handled.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Like we had like. Per se, like the oven that had plastic. Dishes in it,
Mhm.
we immediately unplugged that oven. 'Cause we
Okay,
don't use
okay.
it, stuff like that, so the red stuff, yeah, we jump right on.
okay.
And-
The one that stood out to me the most was the sprinkler one.
Yeah, I was listening to that
Yeah,
one too.
because that's the one, it's like, once we know about it, we know about it.
Right, and that one we will that will have to be a constant reminder because the way our rooms are set up, the storage is limited.
Yeah, so
And so
18
people-
inches.
And they have the shelves and they see that spot above the shelf, and they want stuff
Yeah.
up there, so. And that's kind of part of the,
The education.
recognize it,
Yeah,
tell the administrator, and hopefully they follow through with their staff. If it becomes a real issue, we can remove items. Put them on the desk and say, these can't be out there, so.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
thank you, Jeff. All right. Public comment. Do we have anybody here for public comment? All right, moving on to unfinished business. Approval of policy 3210 non-discrimination, second and final reading.
I'll move for the approval of policy 3210 non-discrimination, second and final reading.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the policy 3210 non-discrimination, second and final reading. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Approval of policy 5310 compensation, second and final reading.
I'll move for the approval of policy 5310 compensation, second and final reading.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve policy 5310 compensation, second and final reading. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Approval of policy 5510 retirement program, second and final reading.
I'll move for the approval of policy 5510 retirement program, second and final reading.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve policy 5510 retirement program, second and final reading. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Approval of policy 5520 staff development, second and final reading.
I'll move for the approval of policy 5520 staff development, second and final reading.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve policy 5520 staff development, second and final reading. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Approval of policy 5610 substitute employment, second and final reading.
I'll move for the approval of policy 5610 substitute employment, second and final reading.
And I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded to approve policy 5610 substitute employment, second and final reading. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Approval of policy 5612 temporary administrators, second and final reading.
I'll move for the approval of policy 5610 substitute employment. No, sorry, 5612 temporary administrator, second and final reading.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve policy 5612 temporary administrator, second and final reading. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Approval of policy 5630 volunteers, second and final reading.
I'll move for the approval of policy 5630 volunteers, second and final reading.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve policy 5630 volunteers, second and final reading. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Approval of policy 5642 administrative internships, second and final reading.
I'll move for the approval of policy 5642 administrative internship, second and final reading.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve policy 5642 administrative internship, second and final reading. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. New business, approval to accept donation of varsity softball dugout from Fast Pitch Boosters. Floor is yours.
Aye.
How are you tonight? Sorry for sneaking in late. I thought it was 6:30 for some reason. Actually, I don't know why I'm nervous, but I've never done this before, so like,
All right.
and I don't mind talking, so I don't know why I'm nervous. Thank you for the time tonight. The Booster Club and the team appreciates this. I'm gonna read really quick, just so I say everything that was entered. For our Booster Club, the Puyallup Tribe of Indians donated $15,000 to the EHS Girls Softball Booster Club for the purpose of renovating our home team dugout on the girls varsity field. The boosters will hire a contractor to build the dugout, and then the Booster Club will donate the dugout to the school district for the field.
Awesome.
That is really cool to me.
That is awesome.
It's kind of phase one, because they, part of it was they'd like to donate more, but it was the end, it was kind of the residuals of
Yeah.
the funds. So we're hoping to move on definitely to the visiting side, just so everything looks, fluid and whatnot.
It's definitely the current footprint of the dugout, that's just gonna be extended deeper, like towards the field.
No, towards the concession stand, because we're not altering the fence. The opening to the field of play is gonna remain the same. It's just the dugout will be built bigger back towards the concession stand.
Okay. Because there is a little bit of space behind
Correct.
there as it is, okay. And then that storage facility, that's down towards where the pitching,
Out for the outfield, correct?
gotcha.
I mean, it's very generous of the Puyallup tribe. And also, it's very inspiring because somebody had to go and ask, and do the legwork of finding a community partner. And so just thank you to both, because I know the money didn't just appear.
Yeah,
it
we've been
takes
working
some legwork. for
Hard for
sure.
the girls this year in the future of the
Yeah,
girls
yeah.
too, for them to have, they're showing some good, they have a good future ahead of them, and so we want to support them as best we can as a booster club, so.
I mean, it's a beautiful, but also a vicious cycle of that self-fulfilling prophecy. When kids see that people believe in them, they start to believe in themselves. And when they start to believe in themselves, more people start believing, and that momentum gets going. But it's hard to get momentum moving, and it's exciting to see it starting to come. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to move for the approval to accept donation of the varsity softball dugout from the Fast Pitch Boosters.
And I would love to second it.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the acceptance of the donation of the varsity softball dugout from Fast Pitch Boosters. Is there any discussion? I just want to say again, this is pretty amazing. The only question that I have is from an ADA perspective. What we do change, are we going to make sure that the opening may be big enough? I know the opening to the field's not changing, but the opening to the dugout, Is it gonna be somewhat ADA compliant?
It will certainly be bigger because
Okay.
we're making the
Yeah.
dugout bigger.
And the only reason I ask that, because I'm 100% support this, is just because I would hate to see all of a sudden somebody come back and say, oh, you need to make it a little bit bigger. So just something to think about when you guys are doing it.
Oh,
That's all I'm saying.
100%. Yeah, no, we're working with Vector Engineering
Oh,
on the
awesome.
design, the plans and everything, so absolutely.
Awesome. All right, other than that, I don't have.
Wait,
Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
I,
All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Thank you much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, approval of cross-country boosters fundraiser.
Hi,
You got the floor.
I,
so I'm Crystal, I'm the new secretary and treasurer with Boosters, we have a whole new booster team. And we are just asking for approval to continue with the firework fundraiser that they have done for several years.
For a while.
Way back.
For a while.
when-
For a
Way more
while.
than several.
yeah, I was gonna say they've been doing it for years.
that is.
That's what I
At least
remember.
25 years. Yeah.
It's almost like grandfathered in,
I
but I
know,
think we
right?
still have to take board
Have to say
action.
something.
I am going to move for the approval of the cross-country booster fundraisers.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the cross-country booster fundraiser. Is there any discussion?
Now. You're right. Have you guys already started getting the permit for that?
Oh, we are up and ready to run on Friday.
Yeah. June 28th is the legal day. Yeah. I think,
Tomorrow, but then I was
Yeah.
told that it was not the right day.
yeah, I think it starts at noon.
Yep,
It
noon on
starts.
the 28th.
Yeah.
I would say, safe to say not everybody has the same timeline in their heads, but yeah, thank you for saying.
And
compliant
all
with
the
law.
city ordinance does say we can be open on the 5th of July.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And as a courtesy to the community, you can always remind them that if they reside in the city limits of Elma, they can only discharge fireworks on the 3rd and the 4th.
Oh, yeah, I will let them
Is
know.
that it? Is that good?
I
Yeah,
will let them know.
because the city of Elma laws are different than the state law, but they restricted it.
Or any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, approval of personnel services contract with Wendy Richmond.
I can talk on that if you
Okay,
guys need
yeah.
to know what's going on there. They've asked Wendy Richmond to come back and work with Ariel on closing out the student side for the high school, how to do transcripting. And so we wanted to approve the personal service contract for Wendy's expertise.
I guess I'll move for it. Okay, I will move for the approval of the personal service contract with Wendy Richmond.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the personal service contract with Wendy Richmond. Is there any discussion?
I think it's a really good use of district funds to tap into our people who are our experts. And I feel like sometimes we don't do that as often as we could and should. I think about that through like retired teachers coming back in, and it's a shame to take a whole lifetime of knowledge and skill and expertise that you can't write down on a piece of paper very well and walk away with it. And so I just think it's a good investment to the district to use our expertise.
And I also think it helps with the transition
Mhm.
because ultimately
It's an idea.
when things are in disarray, because people are learning new positions and new procedures, it ultimately affects kids. And we want kids to be as
Yeah.
mentally impacted.
Yeah. So whoever, thank you.
So
Oh, any further discussion? Sorry, that's me. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
I,
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Not used to usually waiting around for somebody else to do that.
That's okay.
All right, approval of resolution 082324, community athletic field renovation and development. So. Ready to go. I have too many windows open.
And this is through,
Yeah, this is the agreement that basically gives Chris and Lisa the ability to submit in our name and act
On our
in our
behalf.
stead, yes.
Okay. I'll move for the approval of resolution, need my glasses, 08-23-24 community athletic field renovation and development.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution 08-23-24 community athletic field renovation and development. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Approval of superintendent contract.
I'll move for the approval of the superintendent contract by adding one additional, extending his current contract by one additional year.
I'll second that.
Guys, we move a second to approve the superintendent's contract by extending by one additional year. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. Any discussion? Did I do that right?
Yeah, because that would put him out to a 3-year contract from the state board. So yes.
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say no. Motion carries. All right, reports, enrollment, Lisa.
Roland, you can see we ended the year with 1556. We budgeted off of 1563, so we really ended in a good spot for the year.
What did we budget off of, Lisa? Say it again.
1563,
63. And we had 1556.
not bad.
Okay, so we're just a little bit under, so. Nice.
Any questions on enrollment?
Getting back up there. And I mean that
Of the
from-
school, we should pick up some more.
What number are you thinking is our enrollment number projection for this coming year?
We picked a number and
Okay,
I couldn't for the life of me.
Is it more than this?
Not a whole lot more.
Okay, it's
I would
right,
rather be a little under
Yeah.
than over and.
but it's very comparable to where we
Yes,
left off.
yes.
Okay,
I want to get that new school going and see how it grows before I really make a
Okay.
big jump in
Okay.
enrollment.
We picked it as trending like where we were
Yeah.
gonna be and.
just on,
Yeah,
Projection.
projected. I can't remember either. That was a couple months ago though.
Yeah,
it's okay, thank you.
Budget report also, Lisa.
I think you guys have your reports in front of you. Right now, we have a fund balance of about $5 million. I think, we're gonna be pretty close to that at the end of the year. Right now, we're spending mainly our grants, which will bring back into the district as we spend them. The only big expenditures I may have going out is, sick leave for retirees. Might go out in August. Other than that, I don't foresee any big expenditures.
Because the retirees that we've had for the school year, they're officially done in August.
Well, they can choose to be done June, July, or August. Some quit June because they have a 30-day waiting period before they can go and do something else.
Hmm.
Some know I'm not doing anything else. They'll carry it through the end of August.
Yeah.
So we're looking pretty good.
ESSER officially goes away.
September 30th, but I'm asking everybody to be done with what they want by July 1st run in August. So I have a chance to see where we're at and what's left.
Cool. It's a race to the finish line.
We've got some good, I mean,
Yeah.
the walking path is gonna finish up part of it,
Mhm.
which is great to see. Getting the bookmobile, it just hasn't come in yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen the graphics they're putting on it. It is amazing.
Oh,
Pretty
awesome.
cool.
Isn't it?
It
Cool.
really is. So I'm really excited when it gets here that you guys get to see it.
Yeah, was in the elementary school. Just a while back and it looked like Christmas time. There was boxes everywhere. For the curriculum. So, yeah,
CPL.
yeah. So it's good to see it all coming together.
Good to see our fund balance be closer to the target that the auditor had requested, and I'm glad that we made
Yeah.
that change to be more compliant. I think for most of us, when we see 5 million, it's like, wow, that's a ton of money, but if that's been
You
a
know,
learning
it's
curve.
1 month. for-
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
That
think
is
that's
a,
one thing to know, it's for payroll and expenses, it doesn't go far, a
Yeah.
month, and
Right.
we're out of money, so.
Because I had the same thought, Stephanie, when, it's $5 million, because we've been running and even like 3 million was our number all the time, but it's reflecting the increase that's come into compliance with the auditor, so.
Yeah.
That was a good thing to point out.
All right, I don't have any further business on the agenda, things that are coming up, July 10th. We have a meeting, July 24th, budget hearing, and then August 14th, and I'm probably gonna add our retreat in on the 15th and August 28th, and then, yeah, do you wanna?
The thing, Lisa, if we can get your attendance to add, as far as the contract deadlines.
Yes,
To the
please.
agenda, so that we have a reminder of those dates coming up.
So where it says future agenda items, we're wondering if you could get the contract specific deadlines on there as well. So it's got our board meetings on there, but it would also have our contracted dates.
Superintendent contract. or
Yes.
you
Yes.
looking at
Yeah.
Teacher contracts.
well,
written,
maybe
All of that.
maybe a
you
little
would
bit
be
of
affected
both.
By having to get that.
I honestly personally would like to see it all, because then I get the packet each time, and I don't think it would add too much to have to go through.
Mhm.
I think it would be better than not being there, because as we'll probably talk later, I'd like to see it on the calendar too as an invite, so that we kind of know, so it's kind of in our face. Because, this isn't our primary
We can
job,
do
so,
reminders, too.
yeah.
We
Right.
can do like the month before
Yeah.
reminders, what's coming up in the next month. And that might help too.
Okay,
Just a reminder, budget hearing, 5 o'clock is the hearing before the board meeting for the approval of the budget. And that's
Next meeting,
required by law.
next meeting.
End of July meeting.
Oh, that in July meeting.
yeah, July 24th,
Yes.
budget hearing, yep.
Okay.
I will be listening,
At 5.
I will be listening from California,
Oh.
hopefully.
I will not be listening at all, which I will not have cell service on.
Well, that's what I said. I don't know if I'll have cell service, so you might be free.
Get that thing approved.
I know.
I'll listen wherever you need me to listen from, myself. I'm here.
Right.
Yeah.
Same here. If I have to, I will listen if it's from the redwoods on top of a tree, but it works. All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
We have to,
I know we have one more thing. I know it's gonna be kind of different tonight.
I know,
I know,
I never
but
get a turn.
Thanks, everybody, for coming and bringing all the great stuff.
Well, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I can't believe I get the honor of seconding that a meeting is adjourned, so I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Meeting adjourned. So.
It's normally reserved for everyone else.
So
Great night.